Welcome to Bleav In 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav In 76ers is presented by BetOnline.AG.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your basketball betting this season. Get analysis of every play, prop, and point at BetOnline. You'll find the latest odds, team matchups, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline is your basketball headquarters this season. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to sign up and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Be sure to use our promo code BLEAV, that's BLEAV, to receive your bonus. BetOnline.AG, where the game starts. Hey guys, welcome to Bleav In 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash here with our host, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow, and my brother Teja Dash. Guys, big game, awful game Friday, a huge game, man, this weekend. We're going to obviously dive into that and obviously what we're going to see this week. Last week we had an interesting question on the show. Was Harden's game one performance his best performance? His best playoff performance ever. But now I'm going to throw another one in there. Is Harden's game four performance outshine his game one performance?
You're asking a question?
Yeah, I'm asking you guys. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's hard because, both game winners.
I think it's tough. My thing is
no.
With Joel not playing, I would say no in game.
Yeah. And at Boston.
Yeah.
I'd say no. Very close, though. Very close.
Yeah.
It was almost like we had no Joel in the fourth quarter and overtime. So, it was pretty close to that as it is. But I'd say a whole game without him. I'd say another impressive part about Harden is that it came off 2 days rest. So the whole myth of Harden's only good only if he has a week off, well, that's debunked. Unless you think he didn't really show up game 2 or 3, then I guess he did have a week off then.
Yeah. Some are saying that expect him to have similar to game 2 and game 3 tonight and see what he does next game.
That's you and your people, huh, Marcus?
That's not my people. Those are just people on Twitter that
I did put out the game pattern right now is spectacular, followed by 2 clunkers, spectacular. So by the pattern,
I will put him in game 7 to close it out, huh?
Yes. If we can get to 7, Harden's going to have like 30 to 45 points. We just need someone else to step up in game 5 or 6 besides Embiid.
Well, Maxey and Tobias are both due, as we say.
They are definitely due. Yeah.
Maybe that's tonight.
I almost wanted to email you about making Tobias a topic because he's just completely different from the Brooklyn series. I don't know what's changed so much.
Guys, it was sort of what we talked about in the preseason. It's kind of happening now.
Yeah. You mean like
just not enough touches in volume. Just not enough.
Yeah, and Maxey's not being as efficient this series, so he's having.
I think the thing that hurts Maxey, if you all want me to say it right now, is the lack of the way the game slows down and the lack of transition possessions and transition opportunities. That's where he was getting a lot of his points. Mm-hmm. That's a point of emphasis. That's why I've always told you guys, once you get into the playoffs and all of a sudden they start looking at what everybody does well, and they start making it a point of emphasis, it's harder. It's harder to get those possessions. That's why you're having games where people, scoring 80, 90 points in the playoffs. And, not just necessarily our series, but, all the series. That is an issue.
I love that play that we did, I think in the fourth quarter or overtime, one of the two. It was kind of like a dribble handoff from Harden to Maxey curling, and he was already in full speed. So by the time the defender tried to go with him, he was at full speed. The defender had to speed up, and he just couldn't. You can't meet him at that corner there around the edge. So he had a layup. Yeah. I think more of that, more of motion action for him. He needs to be running already when he has the ball in his hands.
I mean, it's tough. And, when you had Joel's injury, because of his injury, they've really slowed down even more when he plays. So that could hurt a guy like, Maxey.
Maxey said, was it after Game 3's loss? I think so. Saturday during the practice or during the film session, they said they had a pretty real conversation. Guys were saying some stuff to each other. I mean, how much do you think that kind of impacted our Game 4 win? Like the guys, everyone kind of airing all their grievances and the way people should be playing. I don't know what they talked about, but obviously they said Maxey said it got real during the film room with everybody.
Well, man, I think it gets real. One, this year you brought in more veteran presence that aren't afraid to kind of call people out.
Tucker
aren't afraid to receive some things. And I think the sense of urgency is higher than maybe it was, years past. Maybe it shouldn't be, but I Bleav it is. But having the more veteran presence, guys that's been there, won a championship and experienced runs in playoffs, and having, like I said, having a voice that's willing to say it, not just say it, behind closed doors or in secret to somebody else. But say it to the group. That helps. Yeah. Didn't PJ come out and say he was a social worker and whatever? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. That's a whole topic for us. We're gonna get into that later. But yeah, no, it's great to have a guy like PJ that say the things on the court, as we saw with we did with Embiid, and obviously in behind closed doors too with everybody. Okay, so with our first topic tonight, so obviously I talked about the loss Friday and then the dramatic win in overtime against the Celtics on Sunday. So far we've seen 2 Boston blowouts, 2 close Sixer victories. So my question is, what are some things you guys saw in Game 4 that can kind of give us something as we go to the second half of this series that can give us some optimism going into the next half of the series, what we saw in Game 4?
I mean, I know I've said it before, but I would like to see Joel closer to the basket. I think they're terrified when he does, and he does it consistently, and he does it with force. Heck, they had a guy double him at the end of the game because of his position. So I would like to put them in more predicaments where they have to make decisions defensively. Maybe get some guys in foul trouble. I would like to see us continue to do that and continue to just attack the paint touches, layups, kickouts. Just keep attacking the paint, because I think that they're like right now they're not playing Williams as much. So getting to the rim or getting to the paint, I think it can help us in many different ways. Open up offensive rebound opportunities, get them in foul trouble, attack the paint, scoring, getting layups, easier looks, and those kickouts for threes. And maybe that'll start clearing up some threes for some guys that's maybe not getting as many.
Will Boston keep opting to double Embiid, or will they go to maybe more single coverage since Al had success second half? Will we keep the same 8-man short rotation, or will we expand it a bit? Because we've gone mostly like 10 for the most part, 10 deep. This one we went 8.
I would say it's 8. You may add a guy on the road, but that guy could be like, a timeout's coming in a couple minutes. You put him in just to kind of give a guy an extended break. He's not really a part of the rotation. He's just helping the guy get a longer break. You'll see things like that, but for the most part, it's going to be those 8, and then unless someone's in foul trouble or something like that. But I don't see that changing very much.
I got into it with someone online because they were saying how getting Niang off the floor pretty much, and I was like, he's shooting 50% this series. Like, unless he has a really off night, I don't think he's coming off the floor.
No, he's going. He's shooting it, and he has some size. But yeah, because you need guys to create space, and that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
And so he's going to play. He's going to be in that rotation, especially being a big that can defend bigger guys and being able to clear space. So, yeah, that's not a guy that I anticipate, not playing.
And maybe my eyes deceived me. I actually didn't think he was that bad on the defensive side last game compared to previous ones. Like he wasn't getting abused as much, or maybe
he had no loud. He didn't have many loud plays.
Yeah, I didn't see any like, oh my gosh, getting him off the floor type moments, right? Now if he's having like just one of those off nights, and it's okay. Well, then we have a disconnected Niang who's not shooting well, playing subpar defense.
Yeah, if he's not shooting well, if he go out and he's like 0 for 4 from 3, they'll cut his minutes.
Yeah, then you'll go McDaniels, which I'd be okay with. That's fine for me. And then the last one was Harden splits. So it's been game to game, aggressive and passive. Are we going to see James aggressive or passive tonight? So that's my third question takeaway for rest of series, really.
Well, like you said, with the pattern of James, he might.
I'm hoping it's not that cut and dry. I'm hoping it's not like if he had. I mean, I don't know what to say. If he keeps going with that pattern, that'd be insane. I can't believe. I'd be shocked. He's got to break out of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. It doesn't have to be so drastic either. I
also hope we don't have the mentality of, well, we're going back to Philly in a couple of days. I mean, I really hope we don't have. I hope they didn't do that last time. They stuck with it, but
I mean, we lost the first game in Philly, so I hope they don't have that kind of thought process behind it. We lost the first game in Philly, then we almost we had to have a Harden buzzer beater in overtime to win the second game in Philly. So I hope we don't have that.
And a bad no call timeout to have them not make that 3-pointer. So we got really lucky. Like they really mishandled the end of that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's put it this way: if Doc did that at the end of a game,
Marcus and his people having fire.
People would be calling for his. People are calling for his name as it is. Okay, even with Tutu, he would be like, man. People, we have limo drivers parked outside the stadium arena, ready to take his ass to an airport.
Let me ask you: of the three, I guess, kind of gut punching things we've seen. Well, overall, I know we don't care about how the Celtics fans feel, but we've had three like weird buzzer beaters in the last few years of the Celtics Sixers. We had a couple months ago Embiid's full court shot that did not count. We had the Bellinelli 3 where the confetti came down, didn't count.
Oh,
and then the Marcus Smart 3 that didn't count.
Well, it counted. It just wasn't a 3, the Bellinelli one, right?
Yeah. The foot was on the line. Yeah. But yeah, it's a lot of weird buzzer beaters with the 3. Obviously, I prefer this one because we won.
Yeah, finally. We finally benefited off.
Yeah, the bounce went in our favor for once. Okay, so going to the next topic, Teja, you mentioned a little bit about Embiid's second half struggles. So Embiid looked like he was fading a bit on Sunday in the second half of that game. Went 3 of 12 in the second half, 1 for 2 in overtime. He also made note in the presser that he just had no lift in the second half of the game. I don't know if you should, attributing that to maybe Horford blocking him twice, to saying he had no lift in the second half of that game. But with the brace and kind of, just kind of being winded, he had no lift. So my question to you guys is, do you think this, his kind of down second half was more about his injury, conditioning, or about Big Al putting the straps on him? What do you guys think about that?
I think it's a combination of all 3. Al does a good job on him. He's strong enough to hold his ground and playing without fouling most of the times with the late contests. I think that the best way for Joel to kind of hurt Al, Joel doesn't play that way. Just get him on the block, bounce, jump hook. He can't block that. He can't contest that.
Mm-hmm.
Repost, throw it out, repost, post deep, jump hook. That's the difference. It's almost like the way Joel plays, especially later in game when he got a little winded or tired or his knee was bothering him. The way he kind of played into Al's hands.
Yep.
So is that sort of him playing in Al's hands, or is Al sort of making him kind of make that adjustment? So that's why I think it's a combination. Like, you have to get Al credit for pushing him off of his spots, making it a little tougher. I personally think you have to try to get deep catches and straight jump hooking because he can't affect that.
Most of those good Al play defenses were Embiid faced up around the foul line.
Yes.
I don't know if any of those were backing up. I think they were all face up, quick pump,
but he's fighting you for that. He's such a solid defender that when you do, and that is Joel's sweet spot, but when you get to that spot, he's playing angles, he's taking away positioning, he's making Joel respond to him more so than the other way around. That's a guy that's affecting the ball handler, affecting the guy that's trying to score. We don't see Joel getting that ball and just pump fake jab, getting him high, going around and getting a foul, going around every spot, get it done. Like, you don't see where Joel kind of has him off balance. You don't see that.
Yeah. So he has no lift because of his knee. But it did look like he was a lot more comfortable with the injury / brace than the game.
He looked better, though.
So that was really encouraging.
I would lean more towards, little conditioning and wearing down. And Al, I would say it's more conditioning in Al more than the knee.
Yeah. So I have like a 45-45 injury conditioning, and then the other 10% for me is Al. Or with injury, I also put brace because he fell over just like flat on his face one time, and there was nothing even happening. He's still having a really kind of rough time with getting used to it, but it's improving. That's my biggest thing was, oh man, like I wanted to see improvement from 3 to 4. So as long as he's improving, I'm okay with that. Because if you take where he was 3 to 4, if you make those same strides from 4 to 5, I'm really happy. I think he'll look even better tonight then, and going forward for Game 6, he should be even better, hopefully, right? Unless he has any kind of tweak in the game. He also played 46 minutes in an overtime game, and we were talking about minutes restrictions at one point. So, is he wearing down after pretty much not playing for 2 weeks?
Yeah,
and then
I wouldn't be opposed to Reed getting more minutes.
Yeah, because we only had 8, I think.
Yeah, it was 10, and he was part of that 8-man rotation.
Yes, and then one of your guys didn't even play double-digit minutes. It's crazy. But yeah, I think if Maxey or Toby can step up, I think it'll take less because it was a 2-man game pretty much all game on Game 4. Like it was
76 points. Yeah,
it was them versus the other team. I mean, like there's got to be someone else to alleviate pressure from both Harden and Embiid.
Yeah, and we're talking about you. Hopefully, there's a progression with Embiid. I mean, he said after the game, I think there's a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I think he's also kind of pissed that Horford did block him twice, but he said that he sucked, and he said he needs to be a lot better. And he said he will be better tonight. So hopefully he just dominates tonight. I mean, obviously, and if he dominates,
he's a little hard on himself.
Yeah,
a little hard on himself. I don't think he sucked I don't think he sucked in the game. He had a rough second half. I'll say that.
He finished poorly, so I guess that was what was fresh on his mind in that press conference after that game.
Good. I'm glad he feels that way, though. I like that. That's his mentality. I think personally he's being a little hard on himself.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it was crashing the boards too, though. That was like one thing I've noticed since he's come back from his injury. It looks like he's crashing the boards more than he does during the regular season.
Yeah,
Eric, have you noticed that?
We need it. Yeah, I mean, I see more activity, but I think the way the game is being played, and that's why I said when it's slowing down, those possessions are shorter and smaller. But you also have more activity as far as possessions and other guys driving or playing off of him, having mismatches, they switching some. So now all of a sudden you want to kind of punish them for having a small guy on you. Sometimes the offensive rebounds is the best way to do that.
Yeah.
It was his first game without a block in the playoffs, which I found interesting considering it was almost a 50-minute game for him.
Yeah, but they weren't really They weren't really trying them as much the last game as they did before. They were shooting that ball. It was a point of emphasis because they were shooting that ball or shooting mid-range shots or shooting floaters or passing it out before they ever got to him.
Yeah, it's true. They did try to test him more in that first game to see how quick, and he was getting to that ball quick. So, like, you know what? He had 4 blocks in that game, right? Yeah, he had 4 blocks in the previous game, 5 in the previous one. So they know how to test. So I'm glad they think that.
Yeah, and I took the bet for Embiid to have 2 blocks on Sunday. Yeah, didn't work out for me, but it didn't matter anyway because Tobias didn't have over 12.5 points. So
I mean, he's averaging like 3, so it's not bad.
No, it's not. So you guys mentioned offensive rebounds, and a big contributing factor to that is our guy PJ Tucker, and we're gonna get here now with our next topic. So one of the biggest plays of the game was PJ Tucker's grabbing an offensive rebound at the again the and one that brought us back to the game, kept us alive really. But in the middle of all that, he got to Embiid and kind of yelled at him. Pretty much, I think it was a way to rejuvenate him, but I think he said after the game it was more about like when you were like aggressive down low, no one can guard you. I know from experience nobody can guard him, and I wanted him to know that and kind of get that, get that back because we needed him at the end of the game. But there's a quote that I saw on Twitter that's been floating around from PJ Tucker. Quote, "That's why I don't get paid enough. People don't understand that I'm a social worker and an NBA role player." It's an amazing quote, and just tells you so much about everything we've talked about. Having the meeting Saturday, getting real with each other, and talking to Embiid, the Paul Reed thing the other day. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think PJ Tucker is underappreciated?
Well, it depends on who you're speaking with. I mean, some of the average fans would say no. People that have been in the locker room will say yes. Because you can tell the difference between last year and this year in this team.
Absolutely.
It's very evident. We've had some games this year that we would have lost last year. So it is a difference. It's the value of a guy sometimes is put into statistics only, but a leadership, a locker room presence, being able to speak and motivate teammates. Coach Brown used to always tell me the best way to get to players or the best way to motivate them or for guys to understand is for them to hear it from their teammates. Because most teammates don't want to disappoint their teammates. Most of them don't, if not all. But if you have a guy that's able to be the coach on the court, talk to him on the bench, in the locker room, be able to motivate them and understand personalities and understand that you can't speak to everyone the same way. There is an extremely high amount of gratitude for something like that, and it does help you win. I know that from experience. I was judged basically on being the guard of the team, but I do know that my responsibilities, the things that I did for that team and my teams that I played for, things that you have to, like he said, social worker. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily use social worker. Sometimes it could be counselor. You know what I'm saying? You could be a social worker. You could be a friend. You could be a teammate. However you want to say it, because you deal with situations that no one understands and no one really knows. if a guy's not playing well, if a guy's not playing, that I felt that responsibility fell on me to help him, help the team handle that.
Get through it.
Guys have disagreements. Guy have a disagreement with the coach. Guy have a disagreement with assistant coach. Guys being late. Guys showing up, messing around in practice. Guys aren't paying attention to adjustments that are being made. In the huddle. You're in the huddle, and guys aren't paying attention. Every time you break the huddle, a guy don't know what he's doing. And you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of things that go on during the game. And I just gave you a few examples of handling that and how handling that matters. And if you have a guy that's able to do that, majority of the time, trust me, you're playing on the winning team.
And you had a guy that didn't know we were talking about practice, man. I mean, come on.
But that guy was going to give you 40 points a game. And you never had to tell that guy to play hard in the game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
I had
deal
to.
with the practice stuff.
Oh, man. Well, I know Eric hates when I count players' money, but let's dive into that real fast for a second. So to be underappreciated or underpaid, well, first of all, I did find it funny. And someone talked about this on that thread on Twitter. Like, social worker is an underpaid position. So it does kind of make sense you are an underpaid social worker on an NBA team. I looked at just similar guys making around the same, just to comp, because I mean that's really a way you could see where you fall in that spectrum, right? So within a 2-3 million up and down, Robert Williams, Dwight Powell, Rashawn Holmes, Terrence Ross, Devontae Graham, Mo Bamba, DeAndre Jordan, Bobby Portis, Favors, THT, Crowder, Bullock, Alec Burks, Larry Nance, Shamet, Malik Monk, Noel, Saric, Royce O'Neal, Monte Morris, Plumlee, Caruso, Kleber. Pretty comparable. You have guys like Finney Smith, Hart, Gary Harris, Pat Bev, McDermott, Kennard making about 4 more. I'd say he's pretty in line as far as where he is. I mean, I prefer him over most of those guys I named. There's a few crazy bargains like Robert Williams. Let's see if his minutes go up, but Bobby Portis is a great team.
Robert Williams is also on his rookie deal.
I thought, is he though? I thought he extended. Because I saw his next 12, 13, 14 for the next like 3 years. That must have been an extension, right?
He's a younger guy if he's not on his rookie deal.
He's on his first rookie extension, right?
Yes.
Yeah, if his minutes keep going up, he'll be looking.
I mean, he's going to make a lot more than that.
Yeah, no, he'll be looking to get that. A few of these guys in general, I think. But yeah, I think he is right in that line, right? I think he makes like 10 something, anywhere from 10 to 14. I think would be good for him. People like to dog Tucker online. I saw some negative comments. It's the like you said, some people would say underappreciated, some people wouldn't. So some of the worst things I saw that you're paying a guy not to score points. He gets paid to do cardio. He wants money just to be a good friend to people. I think I saw someone call him a glorified Peloton instructor, which actually that was funny. It's a stupid comment, but it's funny. And then they called him, someone called him Adonis Haslam, but with playing time. That's all. Bottom line is,
I mean, those are all funny, but they don't have any substance.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, no, it's just
you're saying it, but like it's no substance because you're not saying what you're saying. This, that's. I mean, like I said, they're funny, but it's no substance. Like what's behind? Okay, you say he's glorified this, but why? You know, what
people that are obsessed with quantifiable numbers. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, it's just
like,
want to put you just have a funny comment, but you're not giving substance
of course,
to dispute what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
That is social media in a nutshell, right there.
Yeah. It's like
what you just described.
He's right. You're funny.
Yes. Yeah. I know where you're getting at, but
it depends on I do like the funny stuff. It is funny and hilarious, but don't make it right.
Yeah.
The bottom line is, PJ had a huge hand in eliminating us last year. And it also is a huge reason why we're 2-2 right now. So I can say with 100% confidence that we would not have won game 4 without him, simply for that and 1 rebound. I mean, that was I think with a minute left, he tied the game up. I mean, we would have been down by 3 with a minute left.
I mean, you talk about people like you can always, and Teja knows this. Like you can always say someone's under or overpaid.
Yep.
If you don't understand their value, and most people don't understand the value of guys. I mean, heck, you ask some people, they'll say Joel is overpaid.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't understand the context of a salary cap and how much money is actually being made by these NBA teams.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's a maximum on the salary cap, it's also a minimum that the team has to spend. So they have to spend a minimum amount of money. But the top best players are maxed out. So the money has to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But that's just, it's a heck of a business. It's doing well. So to say, that's why I've always, like, you got to understand, like, got overpaid, underpaid, like the money's going to someone.
Yeah.
And it's not, soccer where you can go and pay a guy whatever you want to pay him because he's the best. That's what a salary cap prevents you from doing.
Yeah.
So once that guy's capped out, you have to move on to the rest of the players and balance out that money to be able to stay above the minimum amount of money that goes out.
And most people were worried about year 3 of Tucker, but I just think, and I said this when we signed him, I don't see his style of play shouldn't decline.
He can do it. He can do it for what he's doing.
He's not blowing by people with the ball.
But his age is also why you probably couldn't commit more salary.
Yes,
because
exactly. That's really why he might think he's underpaid because
I think that's why he got what he got because of his age. If he was 5 years younger, he would have never.
Oh man! He was 5 years. Yeah. Forget about the mid-level. He would have gotten like a legit contract by now. But yeah, I'm glad he's on our team and not against us, man. That's if you can say that about someone, then they're worth it.
Yep. There's a reason why Embiid had said him specifically after he got eliminated by Miami last year. I want a guy like PJ Tucker.
Yeah, and there's a reason why they went right out and did it, and there's a reason why Harden sacrificed some salary to be able to squeeze him in. Like there's an importance there. He's a rock, and what he does well, and he does consistent. And you can count on him, and he's dependable.
Yeah. Just a quick thing here that we didn't get to talk about. I just wanted to throw back to Game 4. At the end of the game, John Howe coming on the court, Harden kind of, invite him to the game and, signing his shoes to him. The MSU, for people who don't know, is the MSU student who was shot during the on-campus shootings a couple months back. Kid was a big Harden fan. Harden called him from the hospital, and then they've kind of developed this relationship over time to let him come to the game. And I Bleav he's inviting him to Game 6 as well. He says he's a good luck charm. I thought that was awesome. It just shows you how, we talk about basketball in here, but it really is more. I mean, sports is so much more.
There's always more to it. But that was a great moment. That's, obviously I went to Michigan State, but I have a son that attends Michigan State. So like, even he was touched by that moment, because of the gratitude and how much it's affected that campus. So for him, he understands that and very appreciative that that happened, even though he wasn't even personally involved. But you understand that young man is paralyzed.
Yeah,
a senseless act. So it was tough, and that's difficult to kind of see, but anything that can help him feel better right now is definitely terrific, and thankful James was able to make that happen.
genuine too. I feel from Harden, it wasn't just like a photo op where he got good press from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's been talking to this dude for months, like keeping up with him for months, and that's that just shows. I've been exposed to Harden through like the primetime games and the playoff games, and whenever they're on TV, they were on TV with Houston, but seeing them on my favorite team, you get a lot more exposure to the man and not just the highlights and player. And Harden's a good dude. He is.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see how touched John Howe was. I think he was fighting back tears. And I got teared up watching at the end of the game, and I'm not really that emotional of a guy, but yeah, they kind of got to me a little bit. All right, so we're gonna get to predictions now. So on top of the predictions of the point spreads, I threw in some other over-unders for you guys to mull over and predict for us, so I can make my betting ticket, and whoever's watching and listening to this can make their betting ticket with our advice on this. So first, we're going to go with the Game 5 prediction. So the Sixers are a 7.5-point underdog at Boston tonight. So first, we're going to start with the picks, the game picks. So what do you guys have straight up and with the spread?
See, it's unfair because are we picking to pick the game? Are we picking based on picking, because I picked us to win in 6. You know what I'm saying? Like, am I still holding to that?
I don't know. You tell us.
I'm asking.
I think that was before any games were played. Now the games are played. I think now based on the way things are going, you can go however you want to go.
Okay.
I know how Eric's going to answer this now.
I don't think we win, but I do think we cover.
Okay.
Are we doing game 6 too?
Yeah, we'll get to that after that. Yeah.
Boston wins, we cover, but I think that cover is going to be a little scary. I think it's going to be tight.
Man,
I know.
There you go.
I think I'm going to go straight up tonight. Sixers. I'm sticking with Eric's 6 games.
Oh, okay.
Great. It'll be great. Hopefully I'm wrong. Won't be the first time I've been wrong in this series. So.
Yeah,
I was on game 3.
Right. I was told I was the other way around.
Yeah.
We called you negative.
I know. Hey, I wish I was wrong too, but
okay. So for the other prediction, so in 8 playoff games so far, James Harden has 4 games with at least 18 points or less, and then he also has 4 games above 20 points. So which one will Game 5 be? Will it be over or under 20 points tonight for James Harden?
Game 5?
Yep, for Game 5.
Over 20.
Do you know his actual over-under? I'm just curious.
The official one, let's see here.
I bet you I'm going to guess it's 21.5.
Okay, his over-under for tonight. So let me get a player props here, player points. What did you say? What was your guess?
21.5.
It's 21.5, yeah.
I'm going to go right at the line. I'm going to go 20. So I think he'll go under 21.5.
Damn. Well, but the question was over under 20. So
it was over 20. That was
over under. God, can I
20.
Push? Over under 20. I like to push it. If I have to choose one or the other, I'll go under.
Man, you think we're going to lose tonight, don't you? Like big time. you said it's supposed to be close.
I think he'll have my guess for his stats are 20 and 11. I think he has his I think he has more assists tonight.
All right. So the last one for Game 5 questions here. Who will have more points tonight? Malcolm Brogdon or Tyrese Maxey?
Maxey.
Brogdon's been better this series, but I think Maxey outscores him tonight. Sorry, Eric, go ahead.
No, he's due. I think Brogdon can still be effective, but I don't think Maxey. I think Maxey has just more volume, makes it happen. From that perspective, I just think he's more aggressive, and I think Brogdon is capable, but he's stuck behind perimeter players that you just never know how many touches he's going to get.
Yeah. Brogdon's had a trigger finger though, man. He's let him go. And every time he shoots, I get scared.
Hopefully we can adjust on that.
Yeah, hopefully. I feel like all those guys, Smart, Brogdon, all those guys have been lighting us up so far this series.
Well, they're wide open almost every time. Just let it go.
It's true. Based on the betting for the total or for over-under points for both those guys, Brogdon's over-under is 14.5 points tonight, and Maxey's is 18.5 points. Yep, 18.5.
I knew it.
Yep.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah. So it looks like Vegas thinks that Maxey will have more points than Brogdon.
Yeah.
We're going to need it. Okay,
he's
so
he's shooting more than him. He's just not being efficient.
Yeah. Him driving to the hoop, I feel like he's not getting rim stuff, but he's going up there and it's just like they're quick misses, man. It's just kind of deflating misses.
He'll get it done.
Yeah. Some of it's bad luck. A lot of those went in the regular season.
Yeah.
A lot of those went in the regular season. They're really close. They're backboard and rimming out a little bit.
Mm.
And the one thing that he has to change is that I've kind of sensed more than he definitely was during the season. He's getting a little whiny, complaining to the referees a little bit.
He doesn't get called, poor guy.
You got to correct that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't get calls at all.
Hey, real fast before we move on to Game 6, did you agree with did you think the Tatum on Maxey was a push-off?
I thought it could have been called a push-off, yes. I mean, he did extend his arm. He extended his arm out, but he did like this, but he didn't, like straighten it out.
I thought it was like a baseball swing. Like not
it's like a rule, but like he kept it bent is basically what I'm saying. But he did extend it, which to me went outside of a normal basketball play.
Yes. His arm went to a higher degree.
He didn't extend his arm bar. He didn't extend his arm bar.
It wasn't straight, but it was like that, But
it was still away from his body.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I just didn't understand the explanation. To me, it was a push-off.
It was over 90 degrees. Let's put it that way. He went like 120 on that, like that.
Yeah. I thought it should have been called. It's one thing for them to miss the call. It's another thing for them to come out and explain that it was not a missed call. I'm like, I thought that was really weird.
Some people say he should have sold it. He should have fallen to the floor. Do you think he should have or no? Do you think that would have helped sell the?
Well, I think him flopping is the reason why he didn't get it. Because it was sort of a flop and it was sort of a late flop. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't. He hit you and then boom, you're right on the head. He hit him and then he kind of went backwards and then he kind of went backwards some more.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of looked like a flop. That's why I think Tatum sort of got bailed out.
Did you think Marcus Smart and Embiid do you think that was offensive or defensive? The one where Embiid sidestepped and Smart came in pretty late. And so you know what I'm thinking.
I mean, I think in that particular case, based on the rules, it's charged because Joel had not gone up into his shot yet. So you have a chance to get your feet set as long as he hasn't went to lift off. So if on that particular play, if he's out of the circle, then that's a clean charge. Based on the rules that are in place, it's a charge. Based on calling it with the naked eye, when it happens, it looks like a block. But
my buddy who's a Boston fan,
replaying the rules, it's a charge every time, is what I'm saying. But if we're just going by the naked eye, like I said, that it's giving me the block.
My buddy who's a Boston fan thought it was going to be a block because his left foot is still sliding. Does that not matter? They didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to have your feet firmly into the ground. So some people think you do. You just have to be sort of positioned in a basketball position because it's just like if you're playing defense and you're taking a charge, you take it in your chest. You don't have to have both of your feet still. You understand what I'm saying? Like you can still be moving as long as they feel that you're in a basketball position.
Plus, like his right foot was stationary and already in place. His left foot was just so his body was still.
That's considered a basketball position if you take it in the chest.
A lot of people think if anything's moving.
No, you can have some. You don't have to be planted to take a charge like that.
Okay, yeah, that's a common misconception for people for sure. I thought since Embiid kind of stepped to the left, he didn't really go into him. He kind of tried actually. That's why I thought, and that was I think.
But he still kind of took it in the chest though.
Well, yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So even though Joel moved to the side.
But see, Marcus Smart has this thing where he gets into people's space, and then when they move, they hit him, and then he's like, "Oh God, you got my face!" Like, dude, stop diving into people's legs. Stop diving like that one play where
it's technically you got to look at everyone is like they have like a circle around them.
Yes,
and that's sort of their space. He sort of has the same situation where he's doing it. He sort of has a bubble around him. So if you impede that, the rules are supposed to be applied to him the same way it is an offensive player.
I agree. Yeah, there was one where Doris Burke called out where Embiid got the ball. I think it was Embiid got the ball, and he turned around and Smart was so close to him that he was like angled back because his feet were like in front of Joe. So Joel was like turned around like this, and there'd be no way to. Don't you have to let a player revolve and move freely in their own space?
No. You don't, because they've established a pivot, right?
At that point, I don't think he did even.
He established positioning.
Yeah, he just got the ball and turned, and
that's what I'm saying. So he just got the ball. It's not like he's moving where you have to give him a chance to turn around and go. He catches the ball. He's established positioning. You can be as close as you want, as long as you're not following him. You don't have to give him room.
But where does his bubble go if you're almost underneath him?
You can be as close to him as possible, and you can even have contact to him as long as you can have contact on him like this. As long as you're showing your hands, you can be touching him with your body like that.
That makes the whole bubble.
Most of the issues when people are standing still is hands, arms, but you can actually put your, body to body. You can actually, that's permitted. It's just when he goes to make a move, you have to release or it's a foul. But if he's just catching and turning, you don't have to do anything.
That was also Doc's problem too, and it was my problem as well. Like, I can see why that wasn't called as a push off. But they were calling very ticky-tack fouls at that point. So if you're going to call ticky-tack, keep calling ticky-tack. If you're going to call loose, keep calling loose. My point is just consistency, whether it's tight or very loose.
That's the hard part about refereeing is what's consistent for one crew may not be consistent for the next.
But even in game, though, right?
Well, in game, what's consistent for the referee that's looking that particular time, and that's his call, may not be consistent for the other referee. Because if a referee sees it and that's not his call, and that's one thing I learned about refereeing, they got three people and they're not all looking at the same thing. So what one may deem sort of aggressive, the other one may not.
Yeah. It's hard, man. Certainly hard.
All right, we're going to go to our final prediction. So let's say Boston wins Game 5. What happens in Philly on Thursday night? And if the Sixers win in Game 5, do you think they'll close out the series in Philadelphia, or does it push to a Game 7?
We're winning Game 6. If we win Game 5, you'll have a close Game 6. Under 10. If we lose Game 5, we'll have a win over 10.
I think we're going to Game 7 either way. We're going to Game 7.
There we go.
I think if we lose tonight, I think it'll be we're going to Game 7 either way. So I think with Boston winning Game 5.
People will be saying we negative on these
Is that negative? Why is that negative?
Do we get comments about us being negative, Marcus?
He gets comments about being negative.
Sometimes people were like, "Oh, come on, Teja, you can't say it's a win." Like, what? Why? Like, what? Come on. Like, be honest.
I understand what they're talking about. Go ahead, Teja. I'm sorry.
So do I.
That's okay. With Boston winning Game 5, I think Sixers win at Philly Thursday night. I think it'll be a close match, though. But if Sixers win Game 5, they will not close it out. Boston will win at Philly by like 5 to 7 points.
So you saying we won't close it out in Philly?
No, I don't think so.
We ain't trying
I think they come right back and beat us.
No way we can win Game 5 and let that go back to Boston. There's no way.
I mean, I don't want
no
to.
way we can let that happen. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm
No
just
way.
saying, like, from a perspective, like, there's no way we can let that. Like, if we get to that,
we will have taken 2. If we win tonight, we'll have taken 2 games at Boston. They would have already taken 1.
And you're saying we're going to have to take 3 to win the series.
I think that's what it came down to in the Miami-Boston series last year.
Okay.
Why don't you think we can win in Philadelphia? I mean, what's
if we win tonight?
If we win tonight, why don't you think we can win in Philadelphia?
I just think they're going to come back hard and tie the game up, tie the series up.
You wouldn't have the mindset, like, let's say we win tonight, like, you wouldn't have the mindset that, man,
of course they have the mindset. They don't want to go back.
No, I'm asking you. Let's say we win tonight, and this is on the heels of coming off the dramatic win that we had the other day.
Uh-huh.
When you say, like, man, I think this Boston team just done. I think that overtime win took a lot out of them. That overtime loss took a lot out of them. They lost at home. They're probably gonna be done in Philadelphia, kind of thing.
These teams are so. This is a very weird series. First of all, there's been a lot of blowouts, close games. We've had such Jekyll and Hyde wins for us, like Harden's whole thing, Embiid's game to game with his injury. I just think it's a really wild card series to the point where there's not a lot of logic here. I think it'll come down to the more desperate feeling team. I think if Boston goes down 3-2 and it's at Philly, I think they'll just be more desperate. I think Boston's a very, very talented team. They've had this core together a lot longer than us. And I think that with their backs against the wall, down by a game, I think they've already won at Philly. It's not like it's insurmountable. Didn't they win 2 regular season games at Philly too this year, or 1? They sweep. Okay, so like they won. No, they won both at that last amazing.
They won 1 in Philadelphia. They won 1 in Philadelphia.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So that's 2 games they've won at Philly this year. It's not crazy for them, right? So yeah, I just think I think it's going 7. I think it's going 7 no matter what at this point.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we win tonight, and hopefully we close it out in Philadelphia.
I hope so. Please let me be wrong here.
All right, fellas. Well, it does it for us. Remember, Teja's the negative one, not me and Eric. Eric and I are we're the optimistic good ones, not you, dude.
Yeah, he don't even care either.
He does. He likes it. He's a bad guy in wrestling. That's what he is. I know you will. And based on what you had with Harden's points total tonight, I don't even want to say your bets.
Hey, was I on that or what though? Come on, 20. I had him and Maxey's points on the dot.
Yeah, you're studying the lines pretty well. What can I say?
I mean, look at him. FYI.
All right, there you go. More patting yourself on the back, man. Look at this guy. Here's what I have to deal with. All right, guys. Well, that does it for us. We'll see you guys Friday as we talk about the Game 5 and also Game 6. And then I'm hopefully not preparing for Game 7, but worst case, preparing for Game 7.
No, you want to hear negative. The next time we meet, we might have been eliminated. That's negative, okay?
That's negative. That's a bad thought.
Now that is negative. But that's a reality.
Yeah, we weren't even going there, buddy. But okay, we got you.
Yeah. That is a possibility.
I was saying worst case was
negative. It's negative for you to even bring it up.
Yeah,
because we weren't thinking about it.
Yeah, I was saying our worst case was possibly going to Game 7.
Yes.
Yeah. Jeez.
And that was my example. You want a negative example? That is negative.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. We have to end a note on a negative note, Tej. Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
All right, guys.
All right, bye.
See ya.